Hello, welcome back. We're back on the channel and we have some story to talk about today. Wow, we do. Luis Diaz, guys, is going to leave Liverpool and he's going to Bayern Munich. That's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. It's not the first time Bayern Munich have bought a player from Liverpool. That's for sure. But Liverpool will be getting, listen to this, 75 million euros for the 28-year-old and a 4 plus 1 year contract at Bayern. I'm going to read through a couple things here just for you guys to click on this video to get some information. And then we'll talk about it. So full agreement is now in place for Luis Diaz to Bayern. Permission to travel granted, and Diaz will leave the club's Asia tour. He is in Tokyo but expected to leave tomorrow. Liverpool only accepted the offer after securing what the club considers to be full market value for Diaz. Diaz and his representatives pushed for the move. Liverpool paid 45 mil for him when he was at Porto. Total was all 49. There was no sell-on to Porto. And Diaz first signaled a wish to leave in the summer of 2024, but Liverpool wanted to hold on to him, and now they're allowing him to leave. Understand, two separate attempts to agree a contract extension failed due to a gulf in terms. Liverpool believes Diaz's departure still leaves them with plenty of attacking depth. So, what are my thoughts on this story? Well, Diaz clearly wanted to leave. And there was another report that came out that said that, Diaz wanted a certain amount. This was reported by Dean Jones, who I've actually met this guy. Very nice guy. He said few would have seen this as the moment to leave Liverpool, but Luis Diaz's exit has been on the cards for months. Amid frustrations over a new contract not arriving on the terms preferred, now he's going to be going to Bayern Munich. So, Luis Diaz, let's talk about this guy. My thoughts on him. Is he a 75 million euro player in this market? Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. Now, he's such a polarizing player in the way that some people think he's the worst player ever. Some people think he is very good. And then there's some people like me that always have the question mark with Luis Diaz of the inconsistency. Because, man, when this guy is playing well, he's sensational. Liverpool fans will tell you they would always get like a 1 month period at a time where the guy was outplaying Salah like a lot. And then you go on Twitter and everybody be like, wait, Diaz is better than Salah, right? And then the next month, Diaz, he goes missing. He doesn't really, produce too much. He'll have a bunch of match ratings around the 6, and then he'll have a bunch of match ratings the following month around the 8. What I will tell you about this with Luis Diaz, right? I think the gamble for Bayern here is very worth it. I know 75 mil is a lot, but when you take a look around in the recent sales of the market recently, Ekatike going for 95 mil. This is all making Arsenal's deal before add-ons of Gyökeres at 65.5 mil really not look too crazy. Although, yes, they are betting on someone for Portugal, but they're betting on someone that has literally just scored goals for 2 seasons in a row. The thing with Luis Diaz, right? When you take a look when all is said and done, he spent 4 years at Liverpool, 148 games, 41 goals and 23 assists. So you're getting 65 contributions in 148. Playing for Liverpool, Premier League proven. The guy is fit. The guy is creative. He's coming off having a season of 13 goals and 7 assists in the Premier League. He had 3 goals and an assist in the Champions League. The previous season, he had 8 goals and 6 assists. The last 2 seasons, he's really made 37 appearances in the league both seasons, which, that's giving you a squad player. That's underrated within itself. You could have X talent, but if he's going to be hurt half the season, it's going to hurt you, right? So, he is a guy that can stay fit. It does appear, at least the last 2 seasons, he has done a very good job of that. And, from Liverpool's side of things, right, if he wants to leave, Bayern makes an initial offer. I understand they didn't really value the offer, Bayern. I think Bayern originally submitted 65 or 70. They didn't like that. So they got another offer because, you know what? I'm seeing from Bayern, they are really out to get a left wing in this market, and it makes sense. They sold Sané. Sané has been the biggest what if because Sané at Manchester City was incredible, and really after that, he never really found his way. Sané never figured out in his game, number one, how to improve his weak foot, and he's not a Di Maria level player. He's not a superstar player that can get away with it. And number 2, his finishing ability. Sané's finishing ability, he never figured out, even on the left. He always had that potential because of the speed and the one-on-one take-on ability. He just never figured out that part of his game consistently. So Sané is he done? Yeah, he's done. He's going to Turkey, which is a competitive league, but he is done. So Bayern have moved on from him. Kingsley Coman is a hell of a footballer. He kind of reminded everybody in that game versus PSG in that first half. But at the end of the day, it's Kingsley Coman, and he's about 4 or 5 knee injuries later. He had a great run. He's not a starting left wing, I think, type of player at this point if you want to win the Champions League in 2025 to 2026. So from Bayern's point of view, this move to me makes a lot of sense. If we talk just about the Bayern Munich lineup, heading into next season, bro, Musiala is injured, but that is the core right there. Your 10 position, your crafty player. So you have Harry Kane, You have Olise, who I think Olise has entered the discussion of top 2 right wingers in the world, top 3. I think he's there. I think right now he is there. I think it's Salah, Yamal, and Olise. And I know people are going to say, well, what about Due? I think those are the 3 guys in that position. If you haven't watched Olise play football, guys, wow, it really makes you wonder, like, where some of these players would go in their career if they left their, clubs they were at. They maybe weren't playing the football level that Bayern Munich, PSG play, because he was good at Palace. He's taking his game to a whole other level at Bayern Munich. And you look at the rest of the team. Pavlovic really coming to his own. Kimmich is an all-timer, a club legend. He gives me Lothar Matthäus vibes. Davies will be coming back from injury at some point, hopefully, later on. I feel like Bayern have ironed out the defense a bit. They brought in Tah. I'll say this about Bayern Munich, guys. We watched them really compete with PSG. Like, I felt like the flow of that game, they were there. And I said watching that game that I felt like Bayern Munich were like 1 or 2 signings away from really being a serious Champions League competitor. Is this going to put them over the line? I think Luis Diaz is a fantastic pickup for Bayern Munich, bro. Bayern Munich like to press a lot as well. It's not that, for me, Luis Diaz heading into the system is not going to be all that crazy different. It's not like he's walking into like maybe an Inter Milan or, just an entirely different side. So I like this move a lot. I think in the current market, Bayern Munich, yes, he's 28 years old. You are taking this premium because if you're going to get him for 4 to 5 years, once a player gets 32, 33, that value is just dropping. So Bayern Munich is kind of betting on this guy is going to really help us win trophies and bring us over the line. Is Luis Diaz a superstar player? He can be. I'll tell you this, he can be. If you haven't watched him play for Colombia, you've really missed out because it is crazy. When you throw on that Colombia-Argentina game, when you throw on that Colombia-Brazil game, every single person in this video who watches the South American football will tell you that Luis Diaz is another monster in that Colombia team. Like, Liverpool fans will tell you too because they support their players internationally, and they always say, man, wow, why can't we get this Diaz 24/7? Because this every time he puts on a Colombia shirt, he's playing incredible, man. In Colombia shirts, 18 goals, 63 games. South American football is not a lot of goals going on. It's a nice return. When all is said and done, is Luis Diaz a Liverpool legend? I don't think he's a Liverpool legend, but I think he was a massive contributor to, help Salah at times and really ultimately, help them win some trophies. He really did do that. So Luis Diaz, should be respected and understood in the Liverpool player side of things, the fans. I would say what I respect the most about Luis Diaz, he wanted to leave. And how many times do we see these players put on some like drama show because, I don't want to play here anymore. I'm better than this, right? Okay, well, him and Liverpool couldn't figure out a contract extension. He didn't get the value that he felt like he was worth, which makes sense. He's 28 years old. Liverpool are probably giving him one price, and they're also spending a lot, right? So they're also spending a lot at the moment. And you know what? He already kind of voiced that, I've been here 4 or 5 years. I want a new challenge. He wants to go. Bayern Munich need a left wing. It makes sense, I think, to both sides. This is one of those deals that I don't think any team got fleeced. Bayern Munich needs a left wing. Okay, Bayern Munich initially were looking at Nico Williams. He didn't want to go there, so he stayed at Athletic Club. So Bayern Munich have to turn to other options. Who else do we go to? For a while, Xavi Simons was linked with Bayern Munich, and I think ultimately, I don't know if Xavi Simons really wanted to go there because it looks like he's going to Chelsea. Also, I don't know if Leipzig are keen on, I think Bundesliga teams at this point are getting a little tired of selling their players to Bayern Munich, so I don't think it's happening as much. Leverkusen is an exception because Leverkusen just kind of sold their whole team and their manager, right? They just cashed in on that crazy season, so we knew that was coming, but yeah, man. I mean, once they get Musiala back healthy, once they get Davies back healthy, I think this team is really setting up to be a very good team. A very good team. And there's also another player that might be going here. I don't know if I pulled up the exact story yet. Nick Voltemada is getting closer to Bayern Munich from Stuttgart. He is a really solid player too. Can get in the attacking midfield position, mainly a striker. He's starting to get German national team minutes. They're probably starting to look at some guy to kind of just alleviate a little bit for Kane. But Bayern Munich's making some moves, man. I mean, this is a lineup that Musiala is a good enough player, guys. Like him and Olise, that duo, that's a good enough duo to get you really far. I mean, we're not talking winning the Bundesliga. We're talking getting far in the Champions League. And ultimately to deal with this PSG side, to deal with this, I feel like Chelsea are looking really good, like going forward. To deal with this Barcelona level side, Bayern Munich and Liverpool, like they're looking at this like, man, we got to go get some more players. Like we got to get some footballers in our teams. So this makes sense. And you know what? Where does this leave us? Does this mean that Isak is going to Liverpool? It's tough to say, right? Because Liverpool will be getting some money for Luis Diaz. That is no joke of money, right? 80, probably 85 mil with add-ons and everything considered. But, They did just spend 93 on Ekatike. They spent 120, 130 on Wirtz. So not to mention other players as well. Is that still going to happen? I don't know. This Isak situation is crazy. It's just, to me, it's like, what is going on there? Because, you start off this whole window with, like, Sesko is going to Arsenal. Okay, no. Now that's not happening. They get Gyökeres, okay? Now Sesko's going to, what's happening there? Isak, Ekatike, Newcastle wants Ekatike. No, Liverpool gets Ekatike. Then Liverpool still want Isak, and Isak wants to leave. So is Sesko going to go to Newcastle? I don't know what's going on. That's why at this point, guys, I'm not dropping predictions on this channel about the upcoming seasons, because how the hell do I know what's going to happen when every single day, for example, today we wake up and now Luis Diaz is a Bayern Munich player. So yeah, guys, final thoughts. Luis Diaz is a footballer that I think is overhated in a lot of people's eyes. He is a guy that is inconsistent at the club level, but if he can figure it out, and I think Bayern Munich is a nice situation for him to figure it out. I mean, these Bundesliga fullbacks are going to have a tough time. This is a guy that can go one-on-one, can press you like crazy, does make good decisions, could benefit from some better finishing, but, ultimately is there's not many left-wing players in the world that are a lot better than him. And, this is a guy that Deco was dreaming of. Deco was trying to get Luis Diaz for weeks, guys. So, Bayern Munich ultimately were the ones that got him. I'm not sure what happened, if there was something with personal terms. Luis Diaz agrees personal terms with Bayern Munich. I don't know. Maybe what's going on there? I don't know, because Bayern Munich or Barcelona in the current systems, what makes more sense? I think they're both phenomenal teams. It is interesting, though, that it feels like Luis Diaz chose Bayern Munich over Barcelona. Because we did hear reports that Deco was coming in with really high values for Diaz. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going on there. I can't tell you guys the ultimate specifics because, look, I'm not a transfer news reporter. I'm just giving you guys my opinions on kind of this stuff is happening. But, guys, I like this deal for both parties. I think Liverpool have enough depth. They have guys like Ekatike and Wirtz who can go out to the left and play that position. Not to mention, guys, okay, I think, and you may think I'm crazy, I think Cody Gakpo is absolutely nasty. I love him. I think he's such a good footballer. So, if this means that Cody Gakpo is going to be getting more time, I'll take it. I'll take it for the Liverpool side of things. And they definitely have more than enough depth. If they are doing this all to get Isak, then the world was not ready for that because, oh my goodness, man, just shut it down. Shut it down. The only way then Liverpool is not going to win the league next year if they do get Isak is like maybe these guys just could never figure out how to play with each other. And guys, don't start talking to me about preseason friendlies. I'm not talking about preseason friendlies, okay? I'm not making anything of this Milan, beating Liverpool yesterday because I know people are going to put that in the comments, bro. Come on, guys. We're talking about preseason. So, guys, let me know your thoughts on this deal. I like this for both parties. I think Bayern Munich just got a hell lot stronger with a really, really vetted starter player in that left wing position. And I think Liverpool, you know what? They had to get some business going the other way because they've been spending like crazy. They've been spending monopoly money this window. So, you know what? Cashing in on Luis Diaz for 75 mil after he played 2 entire seasons for them, pretty much every single game almost. Can you really go wrong? These values are crazy. They have one bad season at 29 or 30, and they dropped to like 40 mil. So Liverpool, I think, is doing a good bit of business there. And you know what? The final send-off, I respect Luis Diaz. Still going on tour with the team, still traveling, not putting on any kind of like show because he wants to leave. Still going through all the process. Respect to this guy. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.